Unusual black couples and marriage stories that made headlines. A 9-year-old boy standing beside a 62-year-old bride. A man ordered to marry a goat. A music legend taking 27 wives in one extraordinary ceremony. These stories sound impossible, but behind the shocking headlines are real traditions, controversial choices, and relationships that forced the world to question everything it believed about marriage. From record-breaking couples and royal polygamy to symbolic weddings and families that challenge social expectations, each case reveals a different meaning of love, commitment, and freedom. But which story crosses the line and which one deserves understanding rather than judgment? Stay with us, because the final case may be the most unbelievable of all. Subscribe to Golden Black Legends and tell us in the comments what is the strangest marriage story you have ever heard. Sanele Masilela and Helen Shabangu. Sanele Masilela and Helen Shabangu became the focus of worldwide headlines in 2013 after taking part in one of the most unusual marriage ceremonies ever reported. At first glance, the images seemed impossible to believe: a 9-year-old boy standing beside a 62-year-old woman dressed as a bride. The photographs quickly spread across international media, leaving millions of people questioning how such an event could happen. However, the reality behind the ceremony was far different from what many first assumed. It was not recognized as a legal marriage, nor was it intended to establish a traditional husband and wife relationship. Instead, the ceremony was performed to honor a deeply rooted ancestral belief held by Sanele's family in South Africa. According to relatives, Sanele began experiencing recurring dreams in which deceased ancestors instructed him to marry or risk bringing misfortune upon the family. After seeking guidance from relatives and local tradition, the family decided to perform a symbolic wedding to satisfy what they believed were ancestral wishes. Helen Shabangu, a married woman, grandmother, and respected member of the same community, agreed to participate in the ritual. Reports at the time indicated that the ceremony took place in Mpumalanga province in 2013, with family members spending approximately 15,000 South African rand, roughly $1,500 on food, clothing, and the traditional celebration. Despite the appearance of a wedding, Helen continued living with her husband and children after the event, while Sanele returned to school and resumed his ordinary childhood. The story immediately divided public opinion. Around the world, many people reacted with shock, believing they were witnessing child marriage. Others, particularly those familiar with local customs, explained that the ceremony carried spiritual rather than legal significance and involved no marital relationship or cohabitation. The event became a powerful example of how cultural traditions can be misunderstood when viewed outside their historical and religious context. More than a decade later, the names of Sanele Masilela and Helen Shabangu remain closely linked to one of the most extraordinary marriage stories ever covered by the international press. Their ceremony continues to spark conversations about tradition, belief, cultural identity, and the challenges of balancing ancient customs with modern values. Whether viewed as a misunderstood ritual or an unsettling headline, it remains one of the most unforgettable marriage stories to capture global attention. Charles Tombe and Rose the Goat. Few marriage stories have generated as much international disbelief as that of Charles Tombe and a goat named Rose. In 2006, the unusual incident made headlines around the world after reports emerged from a rural village in what is now South Sudan. At first glance, many assumed the story was nothing more than an internet hoax. Yet the event was widely reported by reputable news organizations because it reflected a traditional form of community justice rather than a genuine marriage based on love or legal recognition. According to local reports, Charles Tombe was caught engaging in sexual acts with a neighbor's goat. Instead of facing imprisonment, village elders resolved the matter through customary law. As compensation for dishonoring the animal's owner, Tombe was ordered to pay a dowry of 15,000 Sudanese dinars, roughly $50 at the time, and symbolically marry the goat. The animal was even given the name Rose, and photographs from the ceremony quickly spread across international media, leaving many readers stunned by what they saw. Despite sensational headlines, the event was never recognized as a legal marriage under Sudanese law. It was instead a symbolic punishment intended to restore harmony within the local community according to long-standing tribal customs. After the ceremony, Charles returned to his daily life while the goat remained with its owner. Later reports noted that Rose eventually gave birth to a healthy kid, a completely normal offspring that naturally had no biological connection to Charles, despite the rumors that circulated online. The extraordinary case sparked intense debate across different cultures. Some viewed the punishment as deeply humiliating, while others argued it reflected a traditional justice system designed to resolve disputes without imprisonment. Regardless of opinion, the story highlighted how local customs can differ dramatically from modern legal systems. Nearly 2 decades later, Charles' tombe and Rose remain one of the most unusual marriage stories ever reported by the international press. Their case continues to be remembered not because of romance, but because it challenged people around the world to confront the vast differences between cultural tradition, community justice, and modern social values. King Mswati III and Inkosikati Ladube Sibonelo Mungometulu. King Mswati III has long been one of Africa's most recognizable monarchs. But it is not only his political role that has attracted worldwide attention. His personal life, particularly his practice of polygamy, has repeatedly placed the Kingdom of Eswatini under the international spotlight. Among his many wives, Inkosikati Ladube, whose birth name is Sibonelo Mungometulu, became one of the best-known queens, representing a royal tradition that continues to spark debate both inside and outside the country. Eswatini remains one of the few nations where the king may legally marry multiple wives under customary law. Many of these marriages are connected to long-standing cultural traditions, including the annual Umhlanga reed dance, a ceremony celebrating young women's cultural heritage and national identity. While international media often portray the event as a bride selection, cultural experts note that the festival itself is not a marriage ceremony. Nevertheless, several of King Mswati III's wives, including Sibonelo Mungometulu, were introduced to the royal family through this broader cultural environment. As one of the king's queens, Inkosikati Ladube entered a life filled with privilege but also strict royal protocol. Members of the royal household are expected to follow centuries-old customs governing public appearances, family responsibilities, and palace life. Over the years, the king's expanding royal family has frequently drawn criticism from international observers, particularly because Eswatini has faced economic hardship while maintaining an expansive monarchy. Supporters, however, argue that the royal household represents an essential part of the nation's cultural identity and historical continuity. The marriage has therefore become much more than a personal relationship. It symbolizes the ongoing tension between preserving traditional customs and adapting to modern expectations surrounding equality, governance, and human rights. As of 2026, King Mswati III remains on the throne, and discussions surrounding his marriages continue to appear in international news whenever questions arise about the future of Africa's last absolute monarchy. Whether admired as a guardian of tradition or criticized as an outdated institution, his family life remains one of the continent's most closely watched royal stories. Lulu Jemima and herself. When Lulu Jemima walked down the aisle in 2018, guests watched a bride dressed in white, smiling with confidence as the ceremony began. But there was one detail that immediately captured worldwide attention. There was no groom waiting at the altar. Instead, Lulu had chosen to marry herself, turning what appeared to be an ordinary wedding into a powerful personal statement that quickly made international headlines. Originally from Uganda and studying at the University of Oxford, Lulu explained that the ceremony was never intended to mock marriage or reject relationships. Rather, it was her response to years of social pressure, asking when she would finally settle down. Like many women around the world, she found herself repeatedly judged by marital status instead of personal achievements. Rather than continuing to defend her choices, she organized a symbolic ceremony celebrating self-worth, independence, and personal fulfillment. The event was intentionally modest. Friends helped organize the celebration, and reports indicated that Lulu spent only a few dollars of her own money on transportation, while those close to her contributed the dress decorations and other small details. During the ceremony, she exchanged vows with herself, emphasizing that happiness should not depend entirely on finding a romantic partner. Because there was no legal marriage involved, the event became an example of sologamy, a symbolic practice in which individuals publicly commit to valuing themselves rather than entering a legally recognized marriage. News of the ceremony spread rapidly through newspapers, television, and social media. Some praised Lulu's confidence and willingness to challenge outdated expectations placed on unmarried women. Others questioned whether such ceremonies diminished the meaning of traditional marriage. The contrasting reactions transformed her personal decision into an international conversation about identity independence and changing cultural values. As of 2026, Lulu Jemima's self-marriage remains one of the most widely discussed examples of sologamy in modern media. Whether people viewed the ceremony as inspiring or unconventional, it undeniably encouraged millions to reflect on the meaning of commitment, self-respect, and the freedom to define happiness on one's own terms. Paulo Gabriel da Silva Barros and Katiucia Lee Hoshino. Love is often measured by trust, commitment, and perseverance, not by physical appearance. Few couples demonstrate that truth better than Paulo Gabriel da Silva Barros and Katiucia Lee Hoshino. Their remarkable relationship captured worldwide attention not because of fame or fortune, but because together they became the shortest married couple, living officially recognized by Guinness World Records in 2016. Standing a combined height of just 181.41 centimeters, 71.42 inches, the Brazilian couple proved that genuine love is never limited by size. Their story began in 2006 when they met online through the social networking site Orkut. Although Paulo immediately developed feelings for Katiucia, it took several years before they finally met in person. The connection was instant, and after dating for years, they married on September 17, 2016 in a joyful ceremony surrounded by family and friends. Just weeks later, Guinness World Records officially confirmed their achievement, bringing international recognition to their inspiring relationship. Both Paulo and Katiucia have a form of dwarfism, meaning everyday life presents challenges that most people rarely consider. Cars, furniture, household appliances, and even public transportation are designed for much taller individuals. Over the years, they adapted their home and daily routines to fit their needs while supporting one another through every obstacle. Rather than allowing physical limitations to define them, they transformed those challenges into a source of strength. Following their Guinness recognition, the couple appeared in interviews and television programs across the world, sharing a message of resilience, confidence, and unconditional love. They repeatedly emphasized that happiness comes from mutual respect and understanding rather than outward appearance. As of 2026, Paulo and Katiucia remain happily married and continue inspiring millions through their remarkable story. Their relationship stands as a reminder that true partnership is built on patience, loyalty, and shared determination. In a world that often judges people by appearance, their marriage continues to demonstrate that the strongest relationships are measured not in centimeters, but in the depth of the bond between two hearts. Caden Coleman and Elijah. Caden Coleman and his husband Elijah became one of the most widely discussed transgender couples in America after sharing a deeply personal journey that challenged many people's assumptions about gender pregnancy and parenthood. Their story attracted international attention because it demonstrated that family can take many different forms while highlighting the unique medical and social experiences faced by transgender parents. Caden Coleman is a transgender man who had not undergone gender-affirming surgery affecting his reproductive organs. After temporarily stopping testosterone therapy, he unexpectedly became pregnant. Rather than hiding the pregnancy, Caden chose to speak openly about his experience, hoping to educate others about transgender healthcare and reduce misunderstanding. Throughout the pregnancy, Elijah remained by his side, supporting him emotionally as the couple prepared to welcome their child. Their daughter Azalea was born healthy in 2014. Following the birth, Caden resumed testosterone treatment and has since continued advocating for respectful healthcare for transgender patients. Over the years, he has shared his experiences through interviews, public speaking, and social media, explaining the emotional and medical challenges of pregnancy while living as a transgender man. The couple also spoke candidly about facing discrimination, online criticism, and misunderstanding while emphasizing that their primary focus has always been providing a loving home for their daughter. Although their family has often attracted headlines because of its uniqueness, Caden has repeatedly stressed that the most important part of the story is not the pregnancy itself, but the everyday experience of raising a child with love, stability, and support. Their openness has contributed to broader conversations about reproductive healthcare, family diversity, and the importance of treating every patient with dignity regardless of gender identity. As of 2026, Caden Coleman remains an advocate for transgender awareness and healthcare education. His family's story continues to be referenced in discussions about inclusion and modern parenthood. Whether viewed through a medical, social, or personal lens, Caden and Elijah's journey remains one of the most unusual and widely discussed family stories to make international headlines in recent years. Fernando Machado and Diane Rodriguez. Fernando Machado and Diane Rodriguez became internationally known after sharing one of the world's most unusual family stories. As a transgender couple from Ecuador, they attracted widespread media attention when Fernando, a transgender man, became pregnant while Diane, a transgender woman, supported him throughout the journey. Their decision to publicly document the experience challenged conventional ideas about gender parenthood and family life. The couple met through LGBTQ+ advocacy and gradually built a relationship based on mutual understanding and shared life experiences. Unlike many transgender individuals, neither had undergone gender-affirming surgery affecting their reproductive organs. After temporarily pausing hormone therapy, Fernando conceived naturally. When photographs showing his growing pregnancy were released in 2015, they quickly spread across international news outlets, prompting discussions around reproductive rights and transgender healthcare. Throughout the pregnancy, Diane remained a constant source of support, attending medical appointments and helping Fernando navigate both physical challenges and intense public scrutiny. While many praised the couple for their openness, others responded with confusion or criticism. Rather than retreating from public attention, they used the opportunity to explain that pregnancy is determined by reproductive anatomy, not gender identity, encouraging respectful and informed conversations about transgender health. Their son was born healthy later that year, marking an important milestone not only for the family but also for transgender visibility in Latin America. The couple continued advocating for equal rights, healthcare access, and greater public understanding of transgender families, becoming prominent voices within Ecuador's LGBTQ+ community. Despite intense media attention, Fernando and Diane consistently emphasized that their greatest achievement was not making headlines but becoming loving parents. They hoped their experience would encourage society to judge families by the care and support they provide rather than by traditional expectations. As of 2026, their story remains one of the most frequently referenced examples of transgender parenthood in international media. More than a decade after their son's birth, Fernando Machado and Diane Rodriguez continue to symbolize resilience, acceptance, and the belief that family is ultimately defined by love, commitment, and responsibility rather than conventional assumptions. Ahmed Mohamed Dore and Safia Abdullah. Few marriages have generated as much international controversy as that of Ahmed Mohamed Dore and Safia Abdullah. In 2009, news organizations around the world reported that Ahmed, a Somali man reported to be 112 years old, had married 17-year-old Safia in a rural village, creating what was widely described as one of the largest age gaps ever seen in a marriage. Although Ahmed's exact age could not be independently verified because official birth records were unavailable, the remarkable claim immediately attracted global attention. According to local reports, Ahmed had been married several times previously and was already the father of numerous children before meeting Safia. Following a traditional marriage ceremony, attended by villagers and relatives, photographs of the elderly groom standing beside his teenage bride spread rapidly through international newspapers and television broadcasts. The dramatic contrast between their ages quickly transformed the wedding into a worldwide talking point. The marriage sparked sharply divided reactions. Human rights organizations expressed concern over the bride's young age and questioned whether she had been able to make a completely independent decision. Others criticized the marriage as an example of outdated traditions that conflicted with modern standards regarding child protection and consent. Meanwhile, members of Safia's family publicly stated that she had willingly accepted the marriage according to local customs and denied reports that she had been forced into it. The case illustrated the profound differences that can exist between local cultural traditions and international human rights perspectives. While some communities viewed the marriage as a private family matter rooted in custom, much of the world saw it through the lens of ethics, age disparity, and individual freedom. More than 15 years later, Ahmed Mohamed Dore and Safia Abdullah remain associated with one of the most controversial marriage stories ever reported from East Africa. Their story continues to provoke debate about tradition, personal choice, and the complex cultural issues that can arise when local customs become global headlines. Shaquille O'Neal and Nicole Hoops Alexander. When Shaquille O'Neal and Nicole Hoops Alexander appeared together in public, they instantly became one of the most talked about celebrity couples of the late 2000s. It wasn't simply because Shaq was already one of basketball's greatest legends or because Nicole had built a loyal fan base through reality television. What truly caught people's attention was the dramatic contrast in their height. Standing at 7 feet 1 inch, 2.16 meters, Shaquille towered over Nicole, who stands around 5 feet 2 inches, 1.57 meters. Their photographs quickly spread across magazines and entertainment websites, becoming one of Hollywood's most recognizable examples of an unlikely couple. The pair reportedly began dating in 2010 after Shaquille's separation from his former wife, Shawnee O'Neal. Nicole, known for winning VH1's Flavor of Love spin-off, I Love Money, suddenly found herself under even greater media attention as photographers eagerly documented every public appearance. Whether attending charity events, sporting occasions, or simply walking together, they constantly attracted curious glances because of their remarkable physical contrast. Despite the jokes circulating online about their height difference, both appeared comfortable with the attention. Nicole often laughed off the comparisons, while Shaq's outgoing personality helped turn public curiosity into light-hearted entertainment. Their relationship demonstrated that compatibility is not measured by appearance alone. However, like many celebrity romances, the relationship eventually came to an end after approximately 2 years together. Although neither publicly engaged in prolonged controversy following the breakup, the couple continued to be remembered whenever discussions arose about Hollywood's most unexpected romances. As of 2026, Shaquille O'Neal remains a basketball icon, successful businessman, television analyst, and philanthropist. Nicole Alexander continues working in entertainment and entrepreneurship. Although their relationship was relatively brief, their unforgettable public appearances remain one of the most recognizable examples of a celebrity couple whose extraordinary visual contrast made headlines around the world. Ben Ehegborough and Angela Ehegborough. In February 2010, Ben Ehegborough and Angela Ehegborough became the center of a worldwide media sensation after welcoming their third child at a London hospital. At first, doctors believed something unusual had happened in the delivery room. The couple, both of Nigerian heritage with dark skin, had given birth to a baby girl with remarkably fair skin, blue eyes, and naturally blonde hair. Photographs of the newborn, named Nmachi, quickly appeared in newspapers across the United Kingdom and beyond, leaving millions wondering how such a rare genetic event could occur. As speculation spread, many people questioned the baby's biological parentage. Ben immediately rejected those rumors publicly, expressing complete confidence in his wife and insisting he had never doubted Angela's faithfulness. Medical specialists later explained that, although extremely uncommon genetics can occasionally produce unexpected physical traits through rare inherited recessive genes or previously unseen genetic combinations, doctors also confirmed that Nmachi did not have albinism, making the case even more fascinating to scientists. Suddenly, the Ehegborough family found themselves under intense public attention. Journalists from around the world requested interviews, while genetic experts discussed the family story as an example of how human inheritance can still surprise modern science. Despite the overwhelming publicity, Ben and Angela consistently emphasized that their greatest concern was raising their daughter in a loving and supportive environment rather than becoming part of an international news story. Their experience also challenged many common misconceptions about race and genetics. Scientists pointed out that skin color is influenced by multiple genes, meaning extremely rare outcomes can occasionally occur even when both parents share similar physical characteristics. More than 15 years later, Ben and Angela Ehegborough remain associated with one of the most extraordinary birth stories ever reported. Their family's experience continues to remind people that biology is often far more complex than outward appearances suggest, while their calm response under global scrutiny earned admiration from many around the world. Chinonso Akinade, Okwueze, and Folawemi Taiwo Okuni. Some weddings are memorable because of extravagant ceremonies, while others capture worldwide attention because of the extraordinary people involved. That was the case when Nigerian identical twins Chinonso Akinade Okwueze and Chibuzor Adalakun Okwueze married identical twin sisters Folawemi Taiwo Okuni and Febisola Kehinde Okuni during the same wedding celebration in Lagos in 2021. The remarkable ceremony quickly spread across social media, where countless viewers struggled to tell the newlyweds apart. Among the two couples, Chinonso Akinade Okwueze and Folawemi Taiwo Okuni attracted particular attention because of the unusual family dynamic created by identical twins marrying identical twins. Throughout the wedding, both brothers wore nearly identical suits, while the brides appeared in matching dresses, hairstyles, and accessories. Guests frequently joked that only close relatives could confidently identify who was marrying whom. Although the ceremony looked extraordinary, the couples explained that their relationships had developed naturally over time, rather than being arranged because they were twins. The wedding celebrated two separate love stories united in a single event, creating unforgettable photographs that quickly circulated throughout Africa and beyond. Following the ceremony, genetics experts noted that if both identical twin couples were to have children, the cousins would share an unusually high degree of genetic similarity. While they would legally remain cousins, genetically they could be almost as closely related as siblings, because each set of parents consists of identical twins. This fascinating scientific fact added another reason why the wedding attracted international curiosity. As of 2026, the Okweze and Okunyi families remain one of Nigeria's most recognizable twin marriage stories. Their wedding demonstrated that extraordinary family situations can emerge naturally without abandoning tradition. Rather than becoming famous through controversy, Chinonso and Folawemi earned attention because their unique relationship offered a rare glimpse into one of the world's most unusual family structures, making headlines both for romance and for the fascinating genetics behind their future generations. Fela Kuti and his 27 wives. Few weddings in modern history have shocked the public as dramatically as the mass marriage organized by Nigerian music legend Fela Kuti. On February 20, 1978, the pioneering Afrobeat musician married 27 women during a single ceremony at his famous Kalakuta Republic compound in Lagos. The brides were dancers, singers, and members of his artistic community, and the unprecedented event immediately became one of the most controversial celebrity weddings ever reported in Africa. Fela insisted that the marriages were about more than romance. At the time, Nigerian authorities frequently accused him of immoral behavior because many women lived and worked within his compound. By legally marrying them, Fela argued that he was protecting the women from harassment while openly challenging what he viewed as colonial ideas about relationships and morality. As with much of his music, the wedding itself became a political statement as much as a personal decision. International media reacted with amazement. Some praised Fela for refusing to conform to conventional expectations, while others criticized the marriages as excessive and deeply controversial. Regardless of public opinion, the ceremony reinforced his reputation as an artist who constantly challenged authority and refused to separate his personal life from his political beliefs. The story took another unexpected turn several years later. In 1986, Fela announced that he had divorced all 27 wives. Explaining his decision, he argued that marriage had become an institution that encouraged ownership rather than equality, declaring that no man has the right to own a woman's vagina. The statement generated yet another wave of international headlines and further cemented his image as one of Africa's most unconventional public figures. Today, Fela Kuti remains celebrated as the father of Afrobeat and one of the continent's greatest musical revolutionaries. His extraordinary marriages continue to be discussed alongside his artistic legacy, serving as a reminder that his life was every bit as bold, controversial, and revolutionary as the music that changed African culture forever. Some of these couples challenged tradition. Others defied expectations, sparked controversy, or inspired admiration around the world. But one thing is certain: their stories proved that love, marriage, and commitment can take forms that few people ever imagine. Now it's your turn to decide. Which couple surprised you the most? Was it the symbolic ceremony of Sanele Masilela, the extraordinary Guinness World Record holders, or the unforgettable mass wedding of Fela Kuti? Do you believe these stories celebrate culture and individuality, or do some cross a line? Share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your opinion. If you enjoyed this journey through history's most extraordinary relationships, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for Golden Black Legends. We'll see you in the next incredible story.